Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm at Gilkicker Point on the Gosport side with Portsmouth behind me. You can see there's 2 rods rigged, but I'm not fishing yet because I haven't done my traces. So the traces I'm going to be using to start with, we're at the bottom of the tide waiting for the turn for the flood, so it's just low tide, and we are going to be using up and over rigs. Up and over rigs for the first part, and the reason why I've chosen that is because I feel that's the most likely chance for a ray. Most likely chance for a ray, and I want the bait right on the bottom. So I'm using short body, 24-inch body, very simple up and over rig. I'm using a combination of equipment on this one, so I'm using the Gemini links for the weight and for attaching onto my main line, because that's going to sit like that. And then on the hook snood end I'm using a Termilink for no other reason than I like them. I like them and they're good. So that is the part that goes, I'll put it against the sun there, that's the part that goes on your main line. Your weight attaches with a bead either side, so it's like a full running ledger. And then onto the Termilink I'll have a hook snood, and I'm using 36-inch. I've standardised my rigs, so a lot of my rigs use the same hook snoods and they're 36 inches long. I've got them all pre-made up, different variations, different poundage lines, different size hooks, but the same thing. So I use them on my pulley rigs, my up and over rigs, and a couple of my running ledger type rigs. So everything's interchangeable, and I like that. It works well for me. So that's the rig I'm going to be using. Sort myself out of weight. I'm going to start off with a 5-ounce yellow, and that would literally just clip on. That is your running ledger, and it can go the full length of the rig body. That end's going to go onto my main line, and that's going to go onto my hook snood. So that is the rig body as I've got it set for today, and I'll select a hook snood. I'm going to use a pennel setup with 4-row hooks. I'm using 4-row hooks because I'm going to use a whole squid to start with. I'm really going to see if I can tease out a ray at the early part of this tide, and I'm going to focus all my attention on getting one rod out and fishing, trying not to hook myself. So my pennel set up, put it against the light there, 2 4-row hooks, 4-row on the bottom and a 4-row that's free running, 36-inch trace and a 100-pound Gemini swivel, power swivel. So if I run that pennel all the way down and clip up the rig dry, unbaited, just so that you can see. These things never fare well on camera, but everyone's interested to see. So there is the full running ledger, and that would be my rod tip. You run the hook snood up to the clip, so up and over, and your baited line, you then tension the rig down, and on your bottom hook you can either put it on the breakaway lead or the clip that is actually fitted to this rig. And as always, because it's not hooked up properly, it's a little bit different. Right, so that is it all hooked up, weight at the ready, pennel rig, up and over, and that would be to your main line. And I've got to give a little bit of appreciation out for this, because I've seen this, I've tried to fish it before, and I didn't have much success. That was until Clive Painter, good fishing buddy of mine, has helped me out loads. I'm surprised with how much everyone likes to help. Everyone wants to help each other out. He showed me this, and he showed me how he fished it. And what Clive actually does is he fishes it with, and I'm going to get one out because I bought one on his recommend, Namex leads. So Namex grip leads, he swears by them. So I've bought some on his recommendation. I'm going to fish with what I know first, and at some point during the day I'm going to swap over and give that a go. Dog walkers in the background. As long as no Labradors pee against my bivvy. Last time I went fishing, all the dogs, once one done it, they all wanted to do it. So that is my rig. 2 foot body, 3 foot hook snood. I'm going to load that up now with a full squid, and I'll bait it up and show you how I do it. I do it using the bait loaders that I make myself, and there'll be a link up above me now as to where you can go and watch how to make a bait loader. Hello, oh, and it's a Labrador, what a surprise. Hello buddy, hello. Labradors. Yeah, so that's the body. Got distracted then. I'm going to prep a whole squid and put it on here. So credit where credit's due. That Labrador's just come running up, and obviously I've got no bait out at the moment because I'm just about to start baiting up now. And he come running up, give him a little pat, and off he went on his way. Bit dangerous sometimes when you've got hooks lying around and all the rest of it, but what I didn't realise, he left me a present. I know what you're all thinking. No, it's not hot, brown and steaming. He dropped that at my feet. So that Labrador had just found this somewhere along the beach, and being retriever by nature, he dropped a little float off for me. So when we rocked up, Stu, as soon as he put his stuff down, there was a whole rig set down on the ground with a grip lead and all that kind of stuff, and I just had a Labrador come running up to me and very kindly give me a float. Happy days. I think today might be a little bit lucky, you know. There it is, a whole small squid and a bait loader that I've made myself. Just put the whole squid on, and there's ink coming out of this, which is even better. I think that acts as an attractant. I hope it does. So you end up with the squid on the loader like that. You take your bottom hook of your trace and you just hook it into the bait loader, and the line runs parallel, and then you just want to position the bait to the position where you want your hook, and then I just take a little bit of a turn around the end like that, just to try and keep it all nice and straight, and then it's a case of elasticating it on. I do like elastic. I use probably too much elastic. I know some people probably watch this and think, God, you're putting a lot of elastic on there. But I like it. And it's my first bait of the day, so excuse me if I'm a little bit clumsy. Concentrate on the eye of the hook, and then just work my way down the hook so the hook's nicely presented on top of the bait. That way you've got maximum hook showing for your bait presentation. And the beauty of using a loader is it keeps everything nice and straight. So that's all done. There's loads of ink coming out of this. I haven't had that before on these small squid actually. Usually you don't get any ink. So I'll just grab my cloth. I like to keep everything squared away. So now we've just got to sort the pennel hook out. So I slide the pennel hook down onto the loader, and before I get anywhere near it, I just put 3 turns, 1, 2, 3, and if the top hook's facing that way, I want the bottom hook facing the opposite way. So just get that in far enough that it's going to have a nice grip of the bait, because when it's casting, a lot of the weight is held on that, or it is possibly shared between the two, but in my mind I think that takes a fair bit of the pressure. And that, I'll put it that way, look, hooks facing each opposite way, whole little squid, and then you literally just pull the bait back, twist it to one side, and then the whole thing slides off the loader. So the loader's now separated. I've got my 36-inch hook trace, and I'm going to clip that all up on one of the rods now and fire that bad boy out. 8 days, can fish the whole day. I've got the whole day to enjoy this, and the weather forecast this afternoon, it's bright and sunny. It's bright and sunny now. I might have to get the budgie smugglers out, start sunning myself. Tin foil, should have bought some tin foil. tin foil, sunning myself. I've just prepped another bait. Exactly the same sort of situation that I did with the whole squid, but this time I'm going squid and bluey. So it's half bluey, half squid, and there's a lot of hook showing on that. A lot of hook, little bait, quite a compact bait, but should give quite a good scent trail, and what is very coloured water with quite a lot of tide running at the moment. So I'm sure the bait gets washed out pretty quick. It gets washed out pretty quick, but when it's in there for the first 10 minutes, it sets the scene for anything that's looking for it. We'll see how we get on. So I've got a whole squid on already out there, uptied in with a big bow in the line. I'm just trying to decide the best way to fish this one, because there's a chance I'm going to get wrapped up in myself today. Walked up the beach for the previous one, and then I'm going to go parallel out now, see how we get on. I'm sat in the shelter out of the wind. It's a strong westerly, and it's running at about 25-30 mile an hour wind, so it's just fishable. It's just fishable with the bivvy up, with the shelter, but I will admit it is difficult. And even as I'm talking, one of my rods, don't think that's the wind. Hard to tell. It's going to be hard to see a bite. White tips aren't showing very well, but the right rod is heaving over quite a bit. Whether that's a fish on there that hasn't tripped the lead, it doesn't look like a bite, does it? It's got no rattle to it. Might have picked up some weed actually, looking at it now. Watching that, looks like the line might have picked up some weed. Possibly worth showing the Shimano reels that I've got as well. So obviously predominantly on most of my beach fishing I go for the Pen Surf Blasters, but this is a 7000 series Shimano Beastmaster. So the only problem I find with these reels is that's got the anti-reverse on. You put the bail arm over, it doesn't always latch. You've got to go to full anti-reverse to get it to sit. Now that's caught me out a couple of times before now. It's just a routine you have to get into. So I always fish without the anti-reverse selected, so it doesn't go backwards unless you're into a fish, but I tend to rely on the drag over backward winding. So you've got to flick it over, then set the bail arm, then do your cast, reset the bail arm, and then put the anti-reverse back on. Just something to consider if you're looking at these reels. Nothing wrong with them. Nice reels. I like using them. This one's loaded up with 18-pound mono with an 18 to 70-pound shock leader. I'm going to rig up a 12-foot rod with that on it. I'll show you the rig when I bait it up, but I'm going to put that in fairly close in. See how we get on. I'm going to fish my clip down place wishbone rig. So 2 hooks, black and green beads. Don't know the size of the hooks, just looking at them. But what I do like about these hooks on this rig is they've got a bend to them. So if you used to lay that over your hand and pull it, it's going to dig in no matter what. It isn't just going to pull straight across. And if you turn it over the other side, it wants to twist to dig in. So I'm going to use these with ragworm. It's got a spring for tensioning. It's got an imp for the clip down. Oh, I'm going to use, because I haven't got anything else that's compact. The sun's bright, isn't it? So it's a beautiful day today. I'm going to use a Namex weight, one that's already set out to go. Namex grip weight. My mate Clive swears by them. He reckons they grip stronger than the other leads. Well, I'm willing to give it a go. So Namex, the main rig with the wishbone. It's always It's always more difficult to set these things up to show you them when they're not actually on the rod, but then it's almost impossible to put it on the rod and then show you. So here we go. So there's the imp, put both hooks into it. It's not baited up yet. Put it under tension with the spring, and that is quite a long flowing trace, and my rod tip is going to be really light. I'm trying to get you so you can see it in the sun. So Namex weight, imp, 2 hooks, wishbone, everything under spring tension, and then that's going to clip onto my main line, and that is what I'm going to fish next. So I'm going to bait it up with some ragworm. When I was a kid, some say I've never grown up. No, but when I was a kid, I used to dig all my own bait. Dig your own bait, and it was an easy way of just feeding this ragworm onto this hook. It was a cheap way of doing your fishing. You used to go scrounging on the beach to see if you could find rigs at low tide. Yeah, you got stuff for your birthday or Christmas, and yeah, and you were fishing on a shoestring, weren't you? So digging your own bait was an absolute must. And it also had the benefit if you dug the bait relative to where you were fishing, so maddies in estuaries, nice big rag on an open beach, that kind of thing. And we used to collect shells and go to all the trouble of taking stuff out of shells to hook bait up and all that kind of stuff. And I've got lazy, so I buy. Also my back won't have it, so working time to me is more important than time off with a bad back. And that's no excuse, you know. I've total respect for the people that get out there, and you could even argue that by doing that exercise you're doing yourself a favour and you've got less chance of having a bad back. I get all that. So I have just put on a ragworm each with the green beads and the little bejingles and the bejazzles, and I'm going to clip that up on that rod, and I'm going to cast it out fairly close and see what we get. I can hear footsteps in the background. I think it's time to introduce Stuart, aka the Sweetcorn Kid. Here he is.
Hey up!
So I've just got 2 up and over rigs out, full squid baits, and I've just put a clip down wishbone rig for place flounder.
Cheat.
Yeah, with green and black beads on.
Cheat, double cheat.
Double cheat. That's my little joker rod that's out at the moment.
I did notice you sneaked a sly one out.
and when I say little, I thought it was only a 12-foot rod. No, it's 12'9".
Oh, is it?
It looks tiny compared to the other two, doesn't it?
That extra 9 inches makes all the difference, apparently.
Well, I don't like to brag about 9 inches, mate, but 9 inches is important to some. What you got out, buddy?
I've got 2 out with, I've got 1 out with whole squid.
Nice.
I've got 1 out with half a bluey.
Nice.
And I've got 1 out with a little scratching rig, little size 2s, a little bit of ragworm, just to see if I can pick up a... Yeah, cheat. Yeah, I'm cheating too. I just want to catch a fish, I don't care what it is. A starfish would do.
Starfish would do. There's so many jokes.
Just so happens.
There's so many jokes with starfish, I don't even want to go down that route. But yeah, okay.
What are we eating then? What have we brought for dinner?
Right, I'm going to sort my dinner out. Right, I'll see you guys in a bit. Saved your blank, 5-inch ting.
Save the blank. I couldn't believe it when they come out of the water. Yeah, no, I must go now, so loaded up like buckaroo again.
Yes mate, take care.
Do me weight training.
Safe journey back.
Yeah, cheers mate. Tight lines.
And I'll see you for a blank sometime soon.
Yeah, we'll blank again soon, yeah.
Yeah. Cheers bud. See you later.
Hello, mate.
So after a whole day's fishing, and as soon as it gets dark, it starts. Absolutely nothing all day. When I say all day, not even a bite. And then, what's that? 4.5 inch ting? A ting. And a pelting. So 2 tings. And when I say 2 tings, I'm just going to compare them. So yeah, definitely. The little black stripe on the tail. No black stripe in the V tail. Flat paddle tail. So a pouting and a whiting on the same rig, which was my 2-hook rig with ragworm on it, that I didn't really want to put out, but I had to put out because things were getting really desperate. So a whiting and a pouting. It's not going to set the world on fire, is it? Of course, darkness falls and the doggy's cool. This one trying his best to twist me up. Come on boy. There we go. One thing that surprised me lately, with everything, you know, like the lack of fish and just how poor the fishing's been, is how tiny these doggies are. These doggies are absolutely weeny. When I say weeny, look at it. It's got absolutely no substance to it at all. So he's a hungry little critter. I'm going all Bohemian Rhapsody, aren't I, with that line like that? Scaramouche, can you do the fandango? Yeah, a little weeny doggy. 2 big rods are still out, and this is on, dare I say it, a 2-hook scratching rig that I've got. And it has just had ragworm on it, but I'm going to do ragworm tip with squid now, just to see if that mixes things up a little bit. And this critter's keen to go back, so I'm going to put him back in the sea, bait up this 2-hook, 2-hook flapper rig up, because that's all it's catching. So the scratching rigs that's been doing everything so far, I mean, you put all that effort into all that fishing gear, all that tackle, all that time, all that bait prep, and then the only things you catch are on little size 1 hooks and ragworm. You know, makes you wonder why you go to all the trouble of all that other stuff. This time of year, maybe there's a chance of something significant. It's going to rock up on the big rods, I'm confident of that, if there's something there to be caught. Whole squid. I've got a pulley rig and I've got an up and over, and between the 2 of them, if they're not going to catch something decent, I don't know what else I can do, to be honest. So ragworm on a tiny little hook, and I'm just going to put 1 squid tentacle. Why? Don't know. Just mixing it up a bit. Will the squid tentacle do something? Don't know. Soon find out. Now, do I do 1 with a squid tentacle and 1 without? I'm going to go for broke. I'm going to put a squid tentacle on both of them. Somebody's had a good go at that one. So let's get another one here. These ragworm are good. I got these from a local tackle shop. Owl's Tackle and Bait. Big chuck up to Carl in there. He helps me out a lot. Gives me tips. Helps me out with tackle choices for terminal rigs and stuff. Shares locations when we try new places. And he's just an all-round good egg, you know. He's a nice guy. Keen to help, and help he does. So, nice ragworm one there. a magical little squid tentacle on there, and we're good to go again. See if we can get this out and see what else we can winkle out whilst we're waiting for the big rods to do what they're supposed to do. Also worth noting, on this rig I've got a little glow in the dark bead. Look at that, see that little glow in the dark bead? Sea glow, I think. I'll have to check that, but I think it's sea glow. I wonder if that's going to do anything, because I've just charged that for the first time with the light. So I'm going to get this out, see what happens. So the tings aren't about, but the doggies certainly are. And it's hard to show a doggy, isn't it? Because they want to wrap you up, they want to rasp you up. And he is going to try. Here we go, let's just grab his tail. There we go. Doggy number 2. Doggy number 2 is a little bit more butch than doggy number 1. It's turned into a bit of a doggy fest. You could say I'm out in the dark dogging. Fished all day and didn't get a single bite. Literally all day. First thing in the morning until it got dark. As soon as it got dark, it's livened up. And the doggies are just getting bigger and bigger. Look at that for a doggy. Oop, flicking his tail around. Look at the size of that for a doggy. He's a fair old chunk for a doggy, looking a bit butch compared to the skinny ones that we've been seeing up till now. A doggy. And I've got a bucket full of them here, so there's all sorts. All else in here. Oh, yeah. So, falling on from the normal routine of tings, it's poutings. So put him in the light. Little pouting with his flippy floppy tail. He's a slippery little sucker, but I'm going to put this one in first, and then I've got to sort that doggy out. And I can hear a jingle jingle. Because I've got no lighting, and because I've got to use my lighting carefully, I've had to put jingle jingle budgie bells on the rods. And they're just going off left, right and centre. I don't know which one to pick up next. In fact, I'm running out of baited traces. So I'll get this little critter back, get that critter back, and get back to doing some fishing. Because for all the efforts today, and nothing to show for it, it's all come alive now. He's a big doggy. He's a big doggy. Put him back in. I've had it with tings before where I've struggled to keep bait in the water, but tonight it's all about the doggies. Doggies everywhere. Can't keep a bait in the water, literally, and I can hear one of the barrels going off in the background now. So what's this? Another chunky doggy. It's not a small one, this one again. So doggy number whatever. He's doing his writhing around his little flippy floppy tail. Right, I need to get this critter back in, so he goes back in the bucket for a minute while I sort myself out. He can wait in the bucket while I bait this 2-hook flapper up. So tonight the absolute winner has most definitely been this 2-hook flapper. And I can hear a bell going in the background. I'm struggling with lighting, guys. I really am struggling. Didn't bring any lighting with me for tonight because I was only fishing the day. Didn't catch anything all day. Didn't even get a bite. And then all of a sudden it comes alive. And it feels like you've done all that work. You're not just going to walk away. I've had a conversation with Mrs. W. And it was all going well. Until I said I'm staying. Oh dear. So I think I'm going to get the cold shoulder tonight. She'll be watching Love Island or whatever it is. One of those programs, I think. So she's got the telly all to herself. She can watch what she likes. I don't want to watch it. I can hear a jingle jangle bell in the background. Let's put that down before I hook myself. I nearly stuck that hook in me then, because I'm struggling because I can't see anything. I'm going to have to call it at some point, despite the fact that everything's come alive, so that I'll be able to pack my gear away. Or I'll be packing my gear away with the torch on my phone. I don't think that's going to be much fun. I've got quite a walk as well in the pitch dark. It's across a golf course, like a pathway that runs across a golf course. So it's tarmac, it's nice and easy to walk on. But yeah, just hope my car's alright. The car's been there for quite some time. Well, it's been there all day. It's been there all day, and I bet the locals aren't quite so keen about cars parking in their street. Oh, whose car is that? It's been there all day. Phone up the neighbours. Whose car's that? Right, so I have got, this seems to be doing all the damage at the moment, a 2-hook flapper, 2 lots of ragworm. I'm going to get this back out, see what we can do next. I've got a bucket full of fish. So what have we got in here? I've got another substantial doggy. Get him in the light. Another substantial doggy, dripping water all over me. And there is something else in there as well, somewhere. See if I can tickle him out. Oh yeah, here he comes. We've got a tiny, I think it's a ting, yeah, it's a ting, because he's tiny. Just wanted to check. Put him in the light. Oh, he's a lively little critter. A little ting with a flippy floppy tail. In all honesty, it's turned into a dogfish fest. I can't keep a rod in the water. So one of the big rods is in. That last doggy took a whole squid on a pennel with 4/0 hooks, and he absolutely annihilated it. I had to chop one of the hooks to get a good hold on it, to get it out with the forceps. And the little ting was on the 2-hook flapper. And I think I'm going to call it there, fellas, to be honest. It turned into an interesting session. Can't remember how many doggies I've had. I'll watch the film footage back and see how many. A few tings. Only a couple of months ago I was catching £1+ tings, yeah, like up in a 40cm range, and then those factory ships came through, and now all we're catching is 5-inch tings, which is what, 12cm, something like that. I don't know, convert it. Now, is that they're the only ones that escaped those factory ships and they went through the nets instead of getting caught in the nets, or have the big fish just moved on somewhere else? But we fished in all the usual places where we usually get the bigger tings, and the bigger tings are the ones that are edible, you know, the ones that you could take a fillet off and you could have a couple for the pot and let the rest go. But it's very noticeable that there are no larger tings. There are only the little 4-5-inch ones, and they just pester your bait unless the doggies muscle them off. So the doggies have been muscling them out all night, and the doggies have been getting progressively bigger. Now you could say, why don't you hang around, there's a chance of a ray. There is, but I've been here since 9 o'clock this morning, and there's a bottle of rum at home with my name on it. So I'm going to call it quits, pack my gear away before that light runs out, because once that light runs out I've got nothing. Never intended to fish the night time here tonight. So all it leaves me to say is tight lines and happy fishing, and I hope to spend some time again with you sometime soon. He's swimming around in the bucket. Bye for now.